Hey everyone, Michael here with Hello Cupcake It's Me, and today I am doing a video based on some user questions, or not user, I mean viewer questions. um, so I get questioned quite a bit. How do you apply for your Social Security or Social Security disability benefits? Um, Now, getting on SSDI is not as easy as everyone might think. For me, it was a 2.5 year process. And during that time period, I had to um, first go through like this whole medical testing rigmarole just to make sure that I actually qualified for the program. So the very first step was I was already receiving state benefits in the form of a program here in the state of Washington called GAX, which stood for basically like General Disability Unemployable. And I was already receiving food or SNAP benefits as well. So I went to the DSHS office, or the Department of Human Services office, and I sat down and I spoke with my caseworker, told them what was going on, and so they actually were the ones who started up the process of the paperwork. Now, at first it was really infuriating to me because the social worker that I was talking to, or caseworker, whoever you want to call, or like whatever title you want to give them, said that it was that they were just going to fill out the paperwork very basic, very general, and it seemed like that was like a huge waste of my time. But what they would do is on the paperwork form, they would just put, I am disabled due to being diabetic. And then they would have me sign my paper, they would sign it, and then they'd send it off. So in that regard, what they were trying to do was just get the first couple of things rejected. So if you're under 62 and you're going in for your Social Security disability benefits, or SSDI, there's going to be a rejection period. So you can submit your paperwork once every 3 months. So I had to do this for 9 months prior to even getting started with everything. And so each time I would come into the office, they would put, I'm disabled due to my due to being diabetic, and then they'd send that paper off and I'd have to sign it or whatever. So that whole thing was very infuriating, and not understanding like why they didn't put into it more detail. And I had, even prior to going to the DSHS office, I filled out my own paperwork and I put into full detail what I was going through or whatever else, and some of the diagnoses that I had received from my other doctors or what have you. Once I got that paperwork back, DSHS called me and said, okay, now Michael, we're going to be putting you through psychiatric and medical evaluations. And I had to go see doctors and psychiatrists that weren't my everyday psychiatric and medical team. And so I had to go to this basically state certified doctors that did disability and what have you, and they looked at all of the stuff that was going on in my life. They put me through all kinds of medical treatments. They made me take all kinds of medications. I had to do psych evals every couple of days, like every couple of weeks, it seemed like. And I had to have like several intense therapy sessions with a state certified psychiatric doctor. I had to do all kinds of different testing with that state psychiatric doctor, and like everything in between. So I initially applied for SSDI in 2000 2010, and from 2010 to the end of 2011, I that was how long I had to go through with like being seen by doctors and going daily to the psychiatric counseling treatments. And a lot of people just say, well, Michael, you're faking it because you look so normal or whatever, but they don't see the debilitating depression. They don't see like what my medical records actually look like. And so that's just basically what the process is that you have to get denied 3 times, then you have to go to state certified doctors that are looking for people who are fraudulent, who are looking for people who are just lazy or whatever else. And the reason I'm saying it like that with quote marks or whatever is because there's such a huge stigma behind receiving welfare and receiving social security disability, and like taking advantage of these programs or what have you. But it's really not as simple as like, oh, I'm not going to work anymore, so I'm just going to go on welfare. No, it's not like that at all. You have so many freaking hoops you have to jump through, and so many different like people that you're interacting with, that unless you are beyond a Hollywood actor or actress, you have to convince like 15 different people throughout a gambit of different departments, throughout a range and gambit of different like offices and medical and whatever else. And then when it comes to the fact that like, okay, now you're having things like the balls rolling, you then have to go find yourself a lawyer that specializes in social security disability benefits. And then once you find that lawyer, you then have to go and meet with that lawyer, and you have to convince that lawyer that your medical claim is actually legitimate. Then what the lawyer does on their end is they subpoena all of your health records, they subpoena all of your mental health records, they subpoena whatever that needs to get so that they can build the case. So what was it, January 15th of 2012, I had my final meeting with my lawyer after, like, it seemed like forever. It took them probably the entire year of 2011 to really just get stuff taken care of. And I was calling every couple of weeks, like, what's the status? What's the status? What's the status? Because at the time I was only getting like $200 a month. My rent was $600. I was seriously drowning in debt and worried that I was going to be kicked out of my house. But thankfully my landlord was way awesome and understanding, and he carried me for that time period where I was only giving him $200 a month. And once I got my first disbursement check, I was able to pay him quite a bit of money back. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So as all of this stuff is building up on me, I have like all this depression, this anxiety, this like everything else. So I'm not only going through the emotional like stress of my day-to-day life, but then I had the medical testing that I was going through, and I had the psychiatric testing I was going through, and then I had to see like 3 different psychiatric people at that time. I had a state certified psychiatric worker, then I had another like county certified social worker, and then I had my regular I don't even know how to say that one, but then I had my regular therapist, I guess is the best word to use, that I saw several times a week. And so, like I was saying though, you have all these different people evaluating you, and unless what you are saying isn't true, there's no way somebody can keep up a lie or keep everyone on the same page unless you're a master manipulator or you're like this amazing freaking actor or actress. And I get so many emails and so many things through YouTube saying how I'm just a pathetic fat loser, that I should kill myself, that I'm lying, that I have XYZ going on for me, and I still work, and I still do this, and I still do that, and whatever else. But how could I convince multiple people from different agencies that this is who and what I actually am and what I have going on? Like, I had out of state medical records talking about what was going on with me. I had in-state medical records talking about what was going on with me. They even pulled my high school psychiatric profile from when I was going to counseling in high school. So all of that pulled together is what happened to help me get, to get on Social Security. My lawyer, the day of my court hearing, she said, okay, Michael, be prepared that the judge may find or may not approve this. And if he doesn't, we can go ahead and appeal it. But if he doesn't approve it, basically you're going to have to try again type situation. So I was really freaking nervous going into the courthouse. I had never had to really do anything in a judicial sense like that before. And so I was standing before the judge, and he was asking me a bunch of questions, and I was answering them the best I could. And about 5 minutes into the hearing, he's like, Mr. Peterson, I'm going to stop you right now. In my 30 years of sitting on the bench and reviewing these type of cases, I read through 300 pages of the 1,400 pages that they sent over, not including the other stack of paperwork that they've sent over, and I've never seen anyone more deserving of this than you. So I'm going to go ahead and grant you your claim. And he dismissed the court, and we were able to leave. And my lawyer looked at me and she said, I've been working with this judge for over 17 years, and I've never seen him do this. So that's my story. Now, that's not going to be the same for everyone, but a lot of times, people are asking me, hey, how do you do? The very first thing you need to do is start the paperwork. So go to your Department of Social Services or Department of Human Services, or, for a lack of better terminology, the welfare office, and get your paperwork started that way. Get yourself set up with a social worker, and then take the steps necessary to see your doctors and go through those steps. Are there people out there that somehow lie and get on these programs? Yeah, of course there are. There's always going to be people out there that lie or do whatever they have to get onto these programs. But in my case, it was not easy to do. I had to have my primary care physician sign off on it. I had to have a county representative sign off on it. I had to have a state person sign off on it, and then I had to go to like another like social security approved person and have them sign off on it, and then all the people in between, and so on and so forth. So it's not an easy process. Don't think that if you put in your application on a Monday, by the following Thursday you're going to have it. It's not that simple. There is so much you've got to go through in order to get to that point. But one thing that I do want to make you aware of is when you're selecting a lawyer to help you, make sure that not only are they a Social Security disability specific lawyer, but also look at their track record. Look at like the cases won versus the cases lost, what their general like rating is. You could do all of that through Google. The way that I chose my lawyer was I was given this packet of all these different law firms and lawyers, and they were ranked best to me. And I sat down in front of Google and I typed out their name. I typed out like so-and-so attorney at law, Social Security disability benefits, blah blah blah, and looked at what other people had said about them. I looked at their business rating, I looked at their Yelp rating, I looked at their just personal rating that other people were talking about, and I went that direction. So I hope this kind of helps give you a little bit of an idea of the hows and the whats. This is by no means like a foolproof, this is how you do it like 100%, but this is like giving you kind of the basics of what to do and how to do it. But like I said, you know, you've got to be your own advocate and get the paperwork started, because if you truthfully feel like you are unable to work and you have your doctors or your psychiatric team or whatever your care team happens to look like backing you up, not just what you're thinking or how you're feeling at that moment, then, you know, go forward and try that out. So hopefully this video helps. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comment section down below. Unless you're a troll, then I don't want to hear from you. I'm going to block you and report your entire account to YouTube, so cut it off right there. But yeah, otherwise I will talk to y'all later. Bye guys.